Culture could be defined as the way we see ourselves, reflected in our philosophy, laws, creative and spiritual aspirations and style of living. The overall blanket definition of culture encompasses popular culture, basically a SOP duplicate, youth culture, which is the arbiter of change, and the culture based on traditionally defined roles, which is normally the province of a self-perpetuating so-called elite. As culture is the reflection, so, occult describes the underlying or hidden forces that subtly determine inspiration. A culture fuses these two descriptions of being, the term implying a catalytic element. An integration between the product and that which inspires it. The laws of cause and effect manifested. Occult energy, by its very nature, has for long been the subject of much mystique. Access has often been hindered by self-appointed guardians who misunderstand the basic rule, that the receptacle can only manifest the energy that it is designed to receive. A quote from Aleister Crowley, "Refine thy rapture," illustrates this concept. What is basically meant is that our intake is governed by the sensitivity, knowledge and strength that we have amassed at the time. Unless there is that in our structure which is developed enough to correspond to a particular force, the force bypasses us, as gas bypasses an electric plug. We are microcosmic in our being but only partial in our realized consciousness. By combining occult and culture, a more readily available access can be made into understanding the subtle pivot between the two definitions. Thus culture can be seen as less of an arbitrary phenomenon and the occult less of a mystery. A culture presupposes a tenable link, a link that can be seen in actuality by the movements and methods of a people in motion. What makes up a society? Ye do not think that a hierarchical peer group structure, closely defined by a high materiality, truly illustrates the concept of a society. A society posits a certain amount of structure, the structure being actualized by the understanding of certain physically defined archetypes that are readily identifiable with the human consciousness. Under the premise of the readily identifiable, material aims that soothe and placate rather than inspire, are the norm in society. There is an aspect of human consciousness that fears and is antithetical to change. This type of attitude is standard practice in today's society, hostile to new ideas, transposing small aims and commitments into great ones, a stifling of progress and exploration. Placebos take the place of the real thing and projection onto. Actuality dismisses reality as a jungle outside the borders of human achievement. Inside these strict parameters, achievement becomes the domain of boredom. The things that harm us most are what we create ourselves. Structure is helpful and parameters mark progress, but limits should be for definition, not a constriction of freedom. Those that restrict freedom are jailers. Those that jealously guard the occult lack knowledge on a crucial point, that it is us. Why should we be denied access to ourselves? Via the term occulture, we can reach a greater degree in our understanding of what it is that motivates our actions. Culture, ideally, is the outward manifestation of the way in which we understand the totality of our being and the way in which it fits with the totality of others' beings and the universe we find ourselves in. A culture blends that with the forces that fuel us. We are making tentative steps to separate the lies of illusion from a more tenable reality. William Burroughs and Brian Gysin showed us a way with the idea of cut-ups. They saw words as being powerful tool, both of oppression and liberation. By changing the sequence of words, they allow the intuitive faculty of the reader to come into play, and the underlying meanings of written statements, in a paradoxical way, are revealed to us.